Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the lounge. Hope you're all doing well. And we are gonna let these very excited hens out. Look at how happy they are that I'm coming up. We got ourselves a very foggy morning here in the Okanagan, and these hens are excited to be let out to forage. Hello, girls. So, since I've gotten these chickens, some of you all have been wondering and asking me all sorts of questions about them. The most common question I've been getting lately, since I mentioned I've been training them to stay out of my garden beds, is are hens trainable? Can they be trained? Well, I looked into this, and in fact, yes, they can be trained, so I'm not wasting my time training them. Chickens respond fairly well to things like negative reinforcement. So on occasion, they will hop into the beds and I'll immediately punish them by scaring them away or, oh, see right there. Big Red, get out of there. You know better than that. See, they're stubborn, but they are in fact trainable. They respond to negative reinforcement and to treats, and that's just the way it is. They can be trained, but it's harder, takes longer to do than with cats or dogs. You really got to be persistent with it. And they will, no eggs here, they will never ever be smart. And what do I mean by that? Well, these hens should have known, for example, that in the yard next door there's a couple of dogs, because they've observed the dogs many times through this chain link fence. But that didn't stop one of the hens from taking a jump onto the fence and onto the other side to be chased by a dog. Oh, there's an egg. Let's grab that beauty. There we go. But yeah, so there you go, everyone. Chickens are foolish and they're difficult to train, but it's not impossible to train them. And eventually, I hope to teach them not to come into these garden beds at all, even though they love doing sand baths in them. But I did want to talk about something else. Colin Powell just died. Let me turn the camera around. Oh, there you guys are. So yeah, Colin Powell, dead at 84. And I don't know how significant this was to me. I guess he's a figure that I remember from throughout my youth, but I thought that it was more interesting how his death was covered. First off, the mainstream media generally sort of fawned over the whole thing, fawned over him and his record. He was the first African American in many, many different military positions and government roles. So that is significant. But to me, Colin Powell will always ultimately be the guy who used his good reputation and good name to go in front of the UN and push for a war that he knew was probably the wrong thing to do. And apparently, in later years, he regretted doing it significantly. But he still did it. So to me, unfortunately, that will be the overruling arc of his legacy, was his contribution to getting the Iraq war going. More interesting, I actually found the way various media covered his death. This was a terrific story to gauge various outlets on how honest they are. Now, Colin Powell was actually an 84-year-old with multiple myeloma. That's a blood cancer, I believe. And when you have a cancer like that and you're an elderly person, your immune system is pretty much shot. It makes absolutely no difference whether he was vaxxed or double vaxxed or fully or not. It is all overruled by the fact that he was a cancer patient. Because when you're an elderly cancer patient, anything can take you down. It can be a flu, a pneumonia, absolutely anything. And it doesn't mean that it's the flu and pneumonia that killed you. Realistically, it was your cancer that sort of tore apart your immune system. In some cases, the simple treatment of your cancer is what's tearing apart your immune system. So, yeah, take a look at how various media outlets reported his death in their headlines and whether they made all of that clear, and that gives you a good idea of how good various media outlets are. The other thing I wanted to mention briefly is that I started playing around with some crypto alternative social media networks. I've been really trying to get into those a little bit more just to sort of get accounts going and get familiarized with them because I am a believer that those type of platforms are the future. We do need significantly more uncensored platforms than places like YouTube and Facebook and so forth. So I've given those a shot. I'll link to my accounts on Odyssey and Minds in the description. Check them out. I don't know when I'll actually be uploading content to those, like new content, but for now I might upload some of my sort of core oldies to them just to get those pages going. Because, yeah, I don't know which decentralized, censorship resistant, crypto friendly social media alternatives are going to ultimately come out on top, but I am convinced that they must come out on top because we've just reached a point where even the layman casual user is very aware of the fact that legacy tech is censoring them and manipulating them and so forth. This used to be the kind of knowledge that was more well known among YouTubers 7 or 8 years ago, but now it's pretty public. So, anyway, hope you guys are all having a good one. I'm gonna keep watching these hens. And I'll probably go in because now they're behaving and they realize they're not going to get to jump around in the beds. But if this was useful, subscribe, hit that like button. We'll see you all next time.